Hi everyone, it's Sunday here in Perth. It's a beautiful day. My neighbour has just started doing the whippersnippering of his yard, which always seems to happen whenever I come out here to do a video for you. And I just thought I'd say hello. I haven't done a live for a little while, so hi everybody. And yeah, I'm here if you want to ask me any questions, if there's any questions you have about cat breeding. But I'm also here with Bobby. Bobby, this is Bobby. And we've been talking a lot in the group recently. I've just this morning done a live session with all the members in my new cat breeders club. Well, not all the members, but we did a live meetup. And because everybody's all around the world, we have to try and choose a time that works for everybody. So 8 a.m. this morning, my time was the one we chose this time. And one of my members was up at 4 in the morning where she was to be part of the group, so that was amazing. But we talked for 3 hours. So I've just answered cat breeding questions and chatted about what's been going on with everybody for 3 hours. So that's amazing. So I'm still in the mood to answer more questions if you have them. But one of the things that we've been talking about a lot, and we talked about it on the live meetup, and we've also been talking about it in our Facebook group, and it's a topic that comes up a lot, is fertility in your male cats. And so that's Bobby. I love Bobby. And behind Bobby over here, oh, the thing's in the way. Over here is Ralphie. Come on, Ralphie. There's Ralphie with Bobby. Ralphie is Bobby's father. And Ralphie and Bobby live together. And Ralphie is about 9 years old, I think, now. And Bobby is about 4.5 years old, I think. Ralphie never missed. Ralphie was a really good stud cat. I have desexed him now, but he was a really great stud cat, and he beautiful to keep, beautiful temperament, beautiful cat to show. And he gave me Bobby, and I love Bobby. Bobby's got a beautiful body, beautiful coat. There are some things I would change. I love his eye color. He's a little bit snub in the face, but otherwise he is a really great cat. I really do love Bobby, and I love his temperament. Bobby has never given me a baby. Bobby is 4.5. Bobby has had girlfriends. Girlfriends are plenty, and Bobby has never given me a baby. Sometimes cats are just not, it just doesn't work out. And, you know, when you've bred the cat yourself, that's one thing. But when it's a cat that you have purchased from somebody else, it can be a big deal, because, you know, you've made an investment and you haven't got what you're intending to get. Bobby. Bobby. Such a good boy, beautiful eye colour. So the thing about male cats is that they are not fertile all the time. So they can be fertile sometimes and then not other times. And in our conversation this morning, about at the 1 hour mark, because like I said, 3 hours, we were having a conversation about just that. And the fact that your boy cats may be fertile today, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be fertile tomorrow. And the idea of a proven stud came up because someone was asking about their boy who hadn't managed to get the girls pregnant, but was a proven stud. When they were sold to him, he had had kittens before. And this terminology of the concept of a proven stud. And my thoughts about that was that it actually doesn't necessarily mean anything, because a cat can be fertile today and not be fertile tomorrow. Male cats can have cycles of fertility, and they can be working and then not working and then working again. And we kind of put it down to a lot of different things, like it's not working, it's not the right match, it's not this, it's not that. But it just can sometimes be that the boy's just having a bit of an off time, having a bit of a holiday from breeding, and will come back again. And so the idea of having a proven stud, the one thing about having a proven stud though is it means that, and excuse my language here, it means that he knows how to use his penis. He has done the deed, he knows what to do. So Bobby's issue is not that Bobby is, it's not that Bobby's fertile or not fertile. We don't know, because Bobby's never successfully completed a mating. We think he might have done once, but I actually don't think he did. I think he just got close enough to make the girl think that she'd been mated, but she wasn't actually mated. So Bobby doesn't know where. He's beautiful, isn't he? Poor Bobby. Poor Bobby doesn't know what to do. Bobby gets on the girls and spends a lot of time trying to work it out, trying to put it where he needs to put it, and he just doesn't work it out, do you, Bobby? Ralphie, on the other hand, Ralphie knew where to put it. But then we have Herbert. Herbert knew where to put it as well, and Herbert did have kittens. So Herbert was a proven stud. I have his great granddaughter now. So Herbert is definitely, if I was getting him from another breeder, you would call him a proven stud. But at around, I think he's around 6 now, at around 4.5, he just stopped working. He just stopped working. He was still mating the girls very, very successfully, but was not getting any of them pregnant. So I think that he just became infertile. Now, I could have waited longer, and I could have kept him entire, and I could have kept trying. And there is a possibility that his fertility might come back online, because this can happen in male cats. But for me, I mainly, Herbert was a show cat, and he's actually an easier cat to show when he's not entire because, well, he doesn't stink. So de-sexing him made sense. But I could have persevered with him to see what would happen. But this idea of a cat being fertile or not fertile, and it's black and white, it's not. It's kind of grey, because they'll go through different time periods where it is and it isn't. And you can actually, I think there's been studies that have shown a cat's spines on its penis. We know that cats have spines like sort of fish scales on their penis, and then when they take it out after mating, that is what induces the girl to make them meow and then roll around. When cats are having this sort of infertile period, their spines on their penises go down as well. So it's probably all linked to hormones. There is some information that I've got recently that is about using supplements to boost your male cat's fertilities, and this is coming from a veterinary reproductive specialist, and I'm gonna find that information. I've got to share it in the group, but there may be a little bits of stuff you can do there. But the other thing is, you've just got to wait it out, and it can be really, I hear it so much, it's a big thing. My boy's not working, he's not mating the girls, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, and it's a source of frustration, especially for new breeders, when the boy cat who's supposed to know what, everybody has this image of this, ginger tomcat that's roaming the neighborhood, impregnating every single cat it sees, and that the boy cats are always going to be successful at mating, and it's just not the case. In the pen over here, they're not out at the moment, I have Reggie and Cuthbert. So we've got Reggie and Cuthbert over here. Cuthbert! Cuthbert, where is he? Can you see him? There he is. There's Cuthbert. Cuthbert. Somewhere in here. Oh, Reggie's over here on the chair. Reggie. Reg. Spider webs. Reggie's over. You can see him. Reg, come over here, Reg. Okay, here we go. So here's Cuthbert. Good boy. And back there is Reggie. I'm not sure if you can see him. Cuthbert is Cuthbert's okay at it. Cuthbert has got a girl pregnant once, but he has missed a couple of times as well. Reggie, his boyfriend, look at him, smooching each other. Good boys. Reggie, we call him the man that never misses. Reggie is very good at his job. Reggie is a very studly stud cat. And interestingly, you would think that in this situation that Reggie would be the Reggie is the more hormonal boy. He is the more studdy kind of cat. He's oilier, he's got stud tail, he's skinnier, he yowls more, and Cuthbert acts more like a pet cat. Interesting dynamic between them is, though, that Cuthbert is actually the boss of Reggie. And we know this because the other day I caught Cuthbert humping Reggie. So it's interesting. Cats, their hormones, it's all a bit weird. It's coming back down over here because it's in the shade. Their hormones are all a bit weird, and their fertility is up and down, and females' fertility is up and down. And I wish that everybody could just put their cats together and a beautiful litter of kittens would result, but it just doesn't work that way, and sometimes it can just be really difficult. And we're trying to get something from them. We're trying to get something from them that we really, really want, but it's not necessarily possible. And I've never been one to subscribe. Never been one to subscribe to, going out and doing lots of tests and things on your cats. You can, depending on where you are. It's not something that's super available with cats. It's definitely something that's super available in dogs, but in cats there's so much less interest in it because there's not as much money as there is in dogs. So dog breeds, they sell for a lot more, they have a bigger show scene. It's just a whole, it's like next level. Horses are even more again, but cats, it's just, there's no money in it. People, to pay the, you know, for the vets to become a specialist in something that they might do now and again when somebody brings them a cat, they're not going to do it. So there's a lot of unknown stuff when it comes to cats. We see more and more stuff every day. Even the thing that I saw recently about the supplements that you can give your stud cats, it was for dogs. But the vet involved said that this is something that they had seen improved things in dogs. They'd seen the improvement in sperm count and everything in dogs, and there's no reason why it shouldn't work in cats. But no one's testing it. They're not even, you know, they're not even going out and getting cats and doing the tests themselves. So, yeah, it's not a thing. And I get asked a lot about, you know, what sort of tests can we do for fertility tests and that for our cats. And I would be like, I don't know. I don't think there's any. You can do proj testing like you can do with dogs, but it's a bit invasive, and I don't know that. I think you put cats together and hope for the best, really. That's the way I do things. Yeah. Oh, there's Bobby. Isn't he gorgeous? Bobby? Bobby? Wouldn't it be nice to have a baby, Bobby? Wouldn't it be nice for me to have a baby, Bobby? Yeah? He says no. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that we've been talking about. We've been talking about fertility. We've been talking about a lot of different things. We've been talking about something else that came up was, you know, how old is Bobby? Bobby is 4.5. Bobby is a mature male. So Bobby, what I'll do with Bobby is Bobby will be desexed, and then I'm keeping Bobby because I love Bobby. And he's very happy with his dad, Ralphie. Ralphie is an ex-breeding cat as well, obviously. Ralphie has a habit of pooping on the floor. So Ralphie, for no reason at all, will just poop on the floor. So Ralphie is not really going to be, he's been desexed for a long enough time for that to be out of his system if it was hormone related. He just does it. And he also has very particular habits about trays. If you give him an Ozpet litter tray, if you give him a clumping litter tray, if you give him a robot litter tray, if you give him anything else, he will poop on the floor next to it. He will only go with Breeder's Choice, which is the paper-based litter. And if he doesn't have that, he's pooping on the floor. And so the paper-based litter is stinky. I don't want that in my house. So we are trying to work out ways, and we're trying to convert him. We are trying to work out ways that he could come and be in the house with us, because we would dearly love that. But I'm not going to tolerate a cat crapping on the floor, basically. If I had one cat, maybe that'd be okay, but I have a lot of cats, so I'm not cleaning up more than I have to. But little Bobby here, Bobby's a good boy. Bobby's a good boy. He's a good boy, he's just not good at doing what he needs to do. So we're not going to have kittens from Bobby, and I'm okay with that. I can move forward. I have plenty of kittens from Ralphie's line, and I have kittens down from Bobby's mum as well, so it's all good. It just didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out. So yeah, anybody have any questions about fertility in your male cats? Because that's kind of what we were talking about mostly this morning. We were also talking about fertility in female cats. We were talking about a cat that was a hybrid, well, not a hybrid, a cat that was down from a hybrid mating, and how with early generation cats, you think of them as being a cat, as in a domestic cat, which is what we have. We have domestic cats, even though we have different breeds, they're all domestic cats. This girl is not getting pregnant, but when you have that, you've got half the cat is the other side of things, whatever breed is being used in the to make F1 and F2 generations and things. And so she's still got a lot of that other breed in her, other type of cat. And you need to kind of breed that out, and you need to wait, because we were talking about how if you go to the zoo, you've got lions, you've got cheetahs, you've got jaguars, you've got a lot of cat-related cats, wild cats, and they would all have different fertility patterns. They would all have different times that they would come into being mature. Some might mature early, some might mature late. So all of these things come and get passed on when you have a hybrid breed like we do with some of the breeds that we have that go back to wild cats. So that would be a bit of a reason to wait a bit longer. Yeah. And I think Nellie just said that strep G. In terms of Bobby, no, it's not, because Bobby doesn't actually make the girls. It's not, strep G is only if he mated them and he had strep G in his reproductive tract, he could pass on strep G to them, or they might have strep G, and that might be that it's in their vaginal tract, and when they have a mating and the uterus is open at that point because the fertilized egg has to go up and implant. So strep G could be a problem in that situation, but he's not getting it in where it needs to go. He's not actually mated any females. He has a I would say it's structural. I would say that he is too short in the body, and I do have short-bodied girls that I could put him with, but one, they're a bit related, and two, that's perpetuating the problem. So if we were talking, when we were talking this morning in the meetup, the difference between Bobby and Herbert is about that much in terms of their body length. Herbert can make girls quite successfully, but isn't fertile. Bobby can't make girls successfully. So he might be fertile, he just can't make the girls. So there's a bit of a difference there. There's one that's got a fertility issue and one that's got a sort of a structural issue, really. Yeah. I can't really read that, so I'm just going to lean over here. What if the female is aggressive and won't let him near her? That's pretty normal. That's absolutely normal behaviour. If the female's really aggressive, it might be because you've got the wrong timing in her call. So she's going to be more receptive to the boy when she is in the right point in her call, as whether it's too early or too late. But what happens is, so when we have girls over for matings, and I have friends that bring their girls over to my boys, and often, sometimes the girl will arrive and she's still calling, but often she's gone off call a little bit. And so there is a period of time when they go together initially where there's, nothing happening. It is very uncommon. When I put my own girls in, my boys are straight on them and it's done, mostly. When I have other people's cats come, there's a period of time where they've got to warm up to each other. There's also often a lot of aggression. And I'm trying to think back. So the girl cat might hole herself up in a corner under a chair, and if the boy comes anywhere near her, she's having a go at him. They might chase each other and then fully get into a big fight, like a big cat fight. The timing is probably slightly off, but even if the timing is spot on and she was peddling and treadling before you put her in, they still need time to get to know each other, and they need to work out the right time between them. And so it's a bit of a thing that they will be fighty and bashy. But as breeders, when you're new, you'll be like, oh my God, they're beating each other up. I've got to go in there and rescue them. For me, it's like, yeah, they'll get to the point of mating. They will get to the point of mating. It can be really aggressive and really brutal. If the timing is okay and the girl is in season and the boy is, a decent stud cat, it can be violent at the beginning, but it will happen. If you put a girl in just randomly and she's not in season, yeah, then that's a proper fight and they're absolutely going to bash each other up and you need to move them. But if it's a cat that's in season and is ready to be mated, then there's just this little bashy for a bit, and then they'll sort it out. Sometimes the boys will woo the girls. The girl is the bashy one. The girl wants to beat the boy up, and the boy cat will work his way around her and he will stalk her and just pick his moment. So even though she would bash him and there would be a big fight, if he waits, for example, till she comes out of the litter box, or she comes out to have some food, sounds really bad, but it's just the way it is, he will then be like, as soon as her back is turned to him, he will pounce on her and then he will mate her. And then you move on from that. So you can also, that's why I often will take the boy out and let the girl eat and use the tray and then put him back in again, because she won't do it because she knows he's going to get her if she does. And some girls get in the pen and they want to be mated, and some girls get in the pen and they don't want to be mated, but when they actually are mated, they're not objecting at the time when it's happening, if that makes sense. So we don't really have a concept of consent with cats, is what I'm saying, and I'm trying to skirt around that without saying too much. But when it is actually happening, even the girls that are like, I don't like you and I'm going to bash you, once the actual mating happens, they'll be like, okay, you can mate me. Yeah, you've mated me. This is all good. And then later on it'll be, you can mate me again. So it is a lot. It is a lot, especially when you see it for the first time. And if your cats are the aggressive type at the beginning, it can be really distressing because you haven't seen that before. Yeah, so her attitude will absolutely change. You don't put them together. You don't have the boy cat near the girl cat unless she's in season. So if she's not in heat, she shouldn't be in there with him, because they will fight. He will bother at her and she doesn't want to be mated at that point, and then that is wrong and that is not fair for the girl. When she is in season, you put her in and then she's going to be into it. Even if she's not into it at the beginning, she will get there. A Christian Leanne says she's got a 3-year-old female, comes in heat a lot and has been a lot of males, never been pregnant. So then the issue there we need to think about, so she's been with different boys and lots of boys, so it's probably a case that she might not have, she might have a fertility issue. And if you really wanted to, you could get progesterone testing to tell you whether when she comes in heat, some cats can be a little bit off, and their behavior can be that they are coming into season but they're not quite fertile, and their fertility and their behavior and that don't quite match. So you could also try mating her a bit before or a bit after to what you're normally doing. So if you normally wait a day and put her in, then don't wait that day. Or if you normally that's Baxter. If you normally take her out after 3 days, maybe take her out after 4 days. Progesterone testing will tell you if she's coming into season. It's basically looking at the cell lining of the vagina, and then they tell whether or not that is the cells that, when they're not in season, the cells look sort of dried up, and when they are in season, they look like fried eggs, which is weird. But it's basically about what's going on with the cells there. So that is more for like if there's a silent caller or that. But as far as other fertility testing, I mean, I think it probably exists out there, but I don't know what you could do for that. With girls that don't get pregnant, I just keep persevering to a certain point and then I give up and move on. But I am mostly, the cats that I have, I'm breeding myself. I haven't purchased those cats from somebody else. So for me to say, well, I'll just de-sex that cat and move on, I haven't really lost as much as if you had bought a cat. If you had bought a cat and it still wasn't getting pregnant after all that time, then you might want to go back to the breeder and say, can you help me out with another cat? But some cats just, just like with people, some cats just are not able to conceive, and it's unfortunate, and all you can do is keep trying or give up. With those early generation Bengals, you keep trying because they may not be fertile yet, but a regular everyday domestic cat, and I think I'm remembering you've got Maine Coons, well, actually Maine Coons, like the age of the cat might come into it as well. So if you had a cat, a Maine Coon, I'm thinking would become mature a little bit later than other breeds. Big breeds like British, they mature a bit slower. And so if you started a bit too early, you might not have fertility then. And then so for example, you can have 2 matings a month apart because that's when she calls, and those matings could be unsuccessful because she's not fertile yet. Then the next 2 matings could be unsuccessful because it's not the right pairing of the boy. So it might be a couple of things going on all at once, and we tend to just sort of point the finger and say that girl's not fertile, but maybe she is now, and maybe something else has happened. So it's just a matter of working through all the options, and then all you can do is try. And once at some point though, you need to say, well, this is not happening. Often when this has happened to me, trying to think back which cat it was, when I did actually get the cat de-sexed, I had a cat I couldn't get pregnant. I just can't remember which one it was going back a little while. When it did get de-sexed, I did say to the vets, can you please have a look at her uterus and tell me if it looks weird? Because sometimes that can be the problem as well, that you don't know what's going on inside. And I do know that someone I knew that was trying to get an exotic cat, an exotic female pregnant, and she didn't get pregnant, and they ended up de-sexing her, and she had her uterus was, one side was all atrophied, and so what had happened, probably born that way, but all of this time trying, and it was never going to happen because her uterus wasn't capable of supporting the kitten. So it's probably, she was probably conceiving but not implanting, so it could have been that. So there's lots of different things that can be going on. What about a skinny girl? Oh, he's had all sorts of girls. He's had fat girls, skinny girls, long girls, short girls. He's had a lot of girls. He's had enough girls. I'm done. That's Bobby. Hi, Cam. all of you girl. Donna says all of her cats are in season. I'm looking for any more questions. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through. Shara is scared that her Gucci will have another stillborn kitten. Plus, why only one kitten? So, stillborn kittens are, it's like, cats are like rabbits and mice and rats. They have a lot of kittens because they don't expect them all to live. And stillborn kittens are just a part of breeding. I haven't had one in my last couple of litters. I've had one, but I have had a lot in one litter. I've had a whole litter. I've had, you know, stuff like that. Cats are not so good at breeding. Cats are not so good at making kittens. Stillborn kittens can be because of the birthing process. So sometimes it can be, especially if you've got a breech kitten, it takes too long in the birth canal, the placenta detaches from the womb, and the kitten is starved of oxygen for just too long. Kittens can be deprived of oxygen for a very long time. They are made to have that slow birth process, but too long is too long, and then they've passed. Sometimes they can pass away a little bit before the birth, especially if you have things like a uterine infection. Strep G is the main one there, but I don't want you rushing out thinking it's that, because one stillborn kitten is nowhere near enough to make me think that. But that is something that can happen. It could be that that kitten just wasn't viable, and that it wasn't compatible with life, so it passed away in utero. Sometimes the kittens are not as developed as the other kittens. Sometimes it could be due to timing. If you leave your boys and girls together for too long, and you've got a kitten that's conceived at the beginning and a kitten that's conceived at the end, the kitten at the beginning will be the one that triggers the labour, but the kitten at the end might not be ready to be born yet, so it might not be compatible with life. It could be so many different things. It could be when it was born, mum didn't clear the sac away and it suffocated. It could be that it was damaged during the birthing process internally. So many reasons for stillborn kittens that if you tried to sit there and find a reason for it, it's just going to do your head in. So it's something that we don't like. I'm not saying accept it. I'm saying accept it, but I'm not saying accept it in a positive way. I'm just saying that it's something that happens and you need to learn to move past it, because it'll eat you up inside. Will you have one kitten again? Who knows? I mean, I had Jessie had 2 litters last season. She had a litter of, I think it was either 4 or 5, and then she had a litter of 1. Why? I don't know, because she's a cat. You know, some girls have big litters, some girls have small litters, some girls have both. So having one kitten now is not necessarily meaning that she's going to have one kitten later. If you consistently have low birth rate, so if you consistently have only 1 or 2, if you consistently have a lot of stillborns, or the cats don't conceive, if you have a lot of birthing issues, then it might be something like Strep G, but it takes a while for you to see the pattern. And going and treating your cats with the protocols to treat for that, it's hard to get your vets to cooperate in the first place, but also we shouldn't be, they're really strong antibiotics, really strong. And I believe that treating some of my cats has led to digestive problems for them later in life. So I would do it very sparingly if it was 100%. You can't test for it, you can't culture it, but if all the signs pointed to it, I would do it. But at this point, you don't have the history to be saying that that's the case. So when you have your next litter, you should hope and pray that you have more kittens and they're all born healthy, but in the back of your mind, be aware that that might not be the outcome. But that's what we need as breeders to have in the back of my mind, in the back of our minds, for every litter that we have. Every litter that we have could be a disaster. Every litter can be a disaster, and every litter could be amazing. My last litter was amazing, like just, yeah, perfect. Nothing so far, touch wood, I hope I haven't jinxed myself. Everything's been great. But you know, I had a litter last season that was the worst one I've ever had, because I lost all 5 kittens in 5 different ways. It was just nuts. So you never know what you're going to get until it happens. And you can worry about it and stress about it, or you can just go about your business and enjoy your cats. I'm moving out of the sun a little bit so you can see me better. Okay, let me just put down his Bobby. Buddy! Okay, he doesn't care. I can't quite read the question, so I just wanted to be in the shade. Kim said her girl had a litter of 7 and 8 and then a singleton. Yeah, that's what happens. Cats don't do maths. Would you spay a queen who came down with tritric? No. Tritrichomonas fetus. Tritric is treatable. Tritric is treatable. It's a horrible thing to treat. It's a horrible thing to have. It's like up there with ringworm for the worst thing that you can get, but it's a parasite. It's treatable. So I wouldn't spay a cat with that unless the cat was unhealthy. If having it had caused them to have bad health, then yes. But tritric generally doesn't do that. It creates this horrible sloppy stinky poo, yes. But even though it's gushing through them, they still seem to be able to get enough nutrition out of the food that they're eating so that it's not creating, I don't know, they're not sickly with it, they're not poorly with it. I don't think they're great, but they're not super poorly with it. So tritric is difficult to treat, it's difficult to diagnose because of the way it is, but once you get on top of it, you're on top of it. Basically with bacteria like that, or parasites like that, hi Bobby, it is often the case that what happens is they eat their food and the bacteria is in their gut, and the bacteria creates toxins as it's doing its thing, and the toxins are the things that make the cats have the diarrhea. So that's kind of how that works. Giardia works like that as well. But no, I wouldn't spay a cat with that. I haven't spayed cats I've had that have had Giardia. We've had Giardia in our kittens, but I mean, I think my adults had it too, but resolved on their own, but my kittens didn't, and we had to treat them. And I think in that litter there was probably cats that I have kept for breeding that I've kept for breeding that have had Giardia. So that's like saying, would you spay a cat that had worms? No, you would treat a cat that has worms and then you would go forward from that. So there are things that you can absolutely breed through and around, and I would say tritric is something that I would do that with. But if I had a raging problem with it and all my cats had it and I couldn't get it under control, then I would look at some big changes, yeah. And if it's just showing up on a PCR test and you have no symptoms, I wouldn't test by PCR. I would actually get them to like find the bacteria in the poop, maybe. I don't know if you can see it under a microscope, but I would want to confirm that they had an active problem with tritric before I got too excited about anything. But if you have the sloppy, stinky poos, yeah, get in there and get them treated. And you might need to do it more than once. And the biggest thing I can say is that if you get told you need to do this for X number of days and you need to do it X number of times, do it religiously. Because when you don't, if you don't do the full course and you don't do it every day, or you don't get the full dose into every cat, what you're doing is you're killing off the weak bacteria and the weak, everything, you're killing off the weak stuff and the stronger stuff is left behind. And then that's what regrows, the strong stuff. So yeah, the second time around that it gets you, it'll get you really hard. So definitely do the treatment right to the end. More questions. So how long is too long? Lost plug, how long is too long before babies are not born in labour? Well, here's the thing. Cats mostly lose their plug and we don't even see it. We don't even see it. So they push it out, they have a little bit of contractions, they push it out, and then they clean themselves. How many times have I seen the plug when I've had my cats in labour? Probably maybe 1 in 10. I don't even see it. So I don't know when it came out, so I don't know when to start the clock. And you don't normally, so the plug coming out and the cervix opening will happen before they give birth, yes. The risk of infection getting in. So what you're talking about is bacteria getting up in there. I'm not rushing to give my cats antibiotics for that. I literally do not know for almost all of my litters when their cervix has opened. When the plug has come out, when I have seen it, it has ranged from being 3 days before to being a couple of hours before. So there's not a lot that I can tell you in terms of that timing either. The plug to me is just a sign that the cat's going to give birth. It's not something that has ever caused me any alarm bells as, what am I going to do? This cat's plug has come out really, really early. I don't think so. Maybe that's me being a bit naive, and maybe that's why I've lost a couple of kittens. Maybe stillbirths could have happened from that, but I just don't think the bacteria getting yeah, I think when the plugs, when it happens, I think it happens a lot when we don't see it. So maybe in those cases it could have happened closer to when they gave birth, but it could have happened further away as well. So hopefully that was helpful. Yeah, tri-trick is nasty. It is gross. It raged through Australia several years ago. There was some cats that came over from the States, and it was particularly bad in the Abyssinian breeding population, and it just absolutely raged through, and it was kind of like nobody really knew what it was, and so that's why it was kind of, you know, really bad. And there was breeders that had it in their whole cattery and had to deal with it, and I could just imagine. I've seen what comes out. No. And so tri-trick was a really big problem there for a while, and it was kind of, like I said, up there with ringworm, but it was kind of like if you had tri-trick, you got judged by other breeders as well that you were a bad breeder because you had it. So people kept it to themselves, but really it's like, it's just shitty luck that your cats have got it. Nobody goes out and goes, oh, I'm going to give my cats tri-trick because I feel like cleaning up poop. It's bad luck when it happens, and you have to deal with it when it happens. And so now it's not really a thing because everybody kind of did deal with it, and now there's no cats that have got it to pass on to other cats, except that it's kind of coming back a little bit. And I think it's coming back a little bit because it's been long enough since the last round that people have forgotten about it, and that then is a bit problematic. So when cats do get sick with it, they're not really thinking that it might be that, and then because of that, it then gets spread to everybody else, and then it sort of becomes a bit of a raging problem again. So that's just my thoughts on that. Scrolling down, does anybody else have any more questions for me? What else can I tell you? I've got Ralph is just sitting on his chair in there. How do they get it? How do they get tri-trick? So tri-trick is the same. You get it in a similar way to where you get giardia. Giardia is waterborne. Tri-trick is more poop. So tri-trick will be in the cat's poop. So if a cat comes in contact with another cat's poop and gets it, and cats tend to be clean themselves and they ingest it, and then it starts the parasite off. So it's mainly a poop thing, and it spreads very quickly in cats that are sharing litter trays and environments. So once you get it in one, you'll get it in all of them if you're not really quick with it. The signs of it are, it's a really mucusy, really cow pat, really stinky poo. A couple of those on their own will happen, you know, cats will poop like that randomly. That's pretty normal. But if you have it on a regular, like ongoing, then the cat might have tri-trick. I don't think it's so much explosive diarrhea as it is they just plop out this gross, stinky, mucusy poo. But Google it. It's not something I have any expertise in because I've never had it, but I do know it has been a problem here in Australia before. So, yuck. And the thing about it is, to do the testing, you need to send the sample off, but you need to make sure the sample doesn't go in the fridge. So I once suspected that I had it, and I was concerned I might have it because it was going around, and I did the poop sample and took it to my vet's, and the junior vet took the sample and put it in the fridge. And then a couple of days later I said, have you sent the sample off? And then like, no, it's okay though, it's in the fridge. I was like, well, that particular sample needs to be sent off immediately. It basically needs to be fresh out of the cat and straight to the lab. And you don't refrigerate it, so you might as well throw that in the bin. He was really upset, but I think it actually probably was giardia because it responded to the treatment that we use for that. So that was back years ago when we were living in our other property. Now I'm a bit more vigilant for giardia because we have tank water and it does live in, it's waterborne, and birds poop on my roof and it ends up in my tank. We've got lots and lots of filters. We've got triple sand filters and a UV filter, but you know, it minimizes the risk, but it doesn't make it zero. So yeah, that's something that can happen. So I guess I'm going to go do some trays now because I need to clear my kitty cats up, but I just wanted to come in and say hi. If anybody is interested in joining the new Cat Breeders Club, literally 3 hours where there was about people were coming and going. There was about 15 people at a time on the screen talking about stuff and sharing stuff, and super positive chat. We have an amazing Facebook group that just goes off. You can also message me directly. I get voice messages one of our members of the month. We have a member of the month every month. A member of the month, one of them was Roxy, and I said today that I love getting voice messages from Roxy because she is in the States and she says my name is Pamela, and I love that. It's very cute. We have members all around the world, so there's always somebody in a different time zone. And yeah, just really helping each other with stuff, celebrating the wins, you know, commiserating on the losses. Just, it's really become a community. And I had one of my members send me a voicemail just 2 days ago saying, you know, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for the group. I wouldn't still be breeding unless it was for you guys. You know, and she's enjoying her hobby, and that's really great, and that's all I want anybody to do. So if you are a new cat breeder, or if you're a newer cat breeder, you don't have to be just starting. We have people in there that have been breeding for 4 or 5 years. But if you're newer to cat breeding and you want a place for support, you want a place to learn things, we had a Q&A every month. We have a Q&A every month. The video went up yesterday, and the video that that I did for everybody was, should I get an adult cat or a kitten as a breeding cat? And that was the topic. That was the question that I answered. We have a masterclass every month with a topic. This month's topic is buying breeding cats, and so we have a masterclass, or we might have you know, there's resources and things that we share, and we had like a birthing checklist. We've had a guide to the different stages of labour, all sorts of stuff like that, and that's all in our members only area. So if you've seen my stuff on YouTube or on here and you've enjoyed it, there is so much more. There is so much more, and every month I'm adding more. So if you want to find out more about joining the club, there's a link on this live video, I believe. There's also a link on my Facebook page, on my Instagram, or you can just go to www.catbreedingforbeginners.com, and there is a link at the top that says club, and that'll take you to the page. It'll tell you all about it and what's included and how to join up, because we'd love to have some more members in there. We've got so many different breeds. We've got some really interesting breeds. We've got, you know, the regular breeds, the British Shorthairs and the Ragdolls and everything. Yes, we've got Siamese and Orientals. Yes, we've got Bengals. Yes, but we've also got things like elf breeds. We've got a lot of Sphinx people in there. We've got some Burmese people, Bumila people, Maine Coon people, Persian people, exotic people. Pretty much got all the breeds covered. I think we need to do another list and see if we can tick them all off. We've got people from around the world. We've got people in all sorts of different associations. None of that matters. It doesn't matter where you are, who you're with, or what you're breeding. You're still welcome to be part of the New Cat Breeders Club, because it's I'm just loving, absolutely loving seeing the growth that people are having, the progress that they're making, and feeling that I had something to do with that. That just makes me so, so happy. And yeah, it's amazing. I can't believe, I would have loved to have had something like that when I first started breeding. When I first started breeding, I did sign up for a membership. It wasn't a membership, it was just like a paid access to a website that gave you a lot more information than they put out otherwise, and I found that really useful. But having that plus the community as well is why I think the New Cat Breeders Club has just been such an amazing thing for a lot of the breeders that we have that have joined. So if you want to join, we would love to have you in there and see you in there. The more the merrier. Okay. Oh, what did Donna said? You will love it, come join. That's cute. That's cute. Yeah, it is really good. It is really good. All right, I better go clean some poop trays. Bobby, would you like me to clean your poop tray? Bobby's over there giving his dad a good groom. It's lovely having two boys living together. All my boys live with another boy, so that makes me happy. Okay, guys, bye.